just an unbelievable breach of trust, especially when he knows I'm going into meetings with my client.
But the author of the Sports Illustrated story, Jeffrey Marks, says he was invited to those meetings and the attorney-client conferences by Marshall in his capacity as a reporter. Marks says he was known to Marshall as a reporter, and he identified himself as a reporter to NCAA investigators. Jeffrey Marks, who won a Pulitzer Prize 2 years ago for his coverage of the Kentucky basketball program, says his story in SI is both complete and accurate. Meanwhile, back in Kentucky, according to a television report in Lexington, UK Athletic Director Cliff Hagan is about to be fired. According to the story, the school president, David Rozelle, met with Hagan last week, told him that he didn't like Hagan's leadership, especially in the aftermath of the NCAA allegations. There were several meetings and news conferences following the NCAA findings about the Kentucky basketball program, and apparently Cliff Hagan wasn't around for them. A couple of pages now from our NBA notebook. The owner of the expansion Charlotte Hornets, George Shinn, continues his recovery from the stroke that he suffered on Tuesday. And while it sounds like he's going to be in the hospital for a while, surgery to repair that broken blood vessel in his brain has been ruled out for the time being. The San Antonio Spurs got a swift kick with the news that their starting center Peter Goodmanson is going to be sidelined for about 2 months after having his left knee arthroscopically repaired on Thursday. He injured the knee in Tuesday night's game against the Houston Rockets. Just 2 games in the NBA. Thursday night, the Portland Trail Blazers, one of the 3 remaining unbeaten teams in the league. So what if they were 2-0 going in? Visited the Nuggets in Denver. Let's go to Mile High City. That's Mike Schuler. And watch Michael Adams of Denver. What a night he had. Adams going through the lane, puts up a prayer. It's answered. He gets a 3-point play. The Hartford, Connecticut native had 29 points on the night. Later on, Portland trailing 46-41. Jerome Kersey out of the corner, nothing but net. Nuggets lead 55-50 at the half. Second half, Blazers on a break. Clyde the Glide to Steve Johnson shoots. Drexler with the rebound. Drexler has 32 points on the night, but the Nuggets would be simply golden. Fast break, Michael Adams to Alex English. On the wing, reverse layup is good. English 28 points. Nuggets down the Blazers 135 to 115. Clyde the Glide with 32 points. A Midwest Division shootout. The Utah Jazz visiting the Rockets in Houston. First quarter, John Stockton with the steal. Driving down the lane, Thurl Bailey's got the jam. Later in the first quarter, Darrell Griffith will take the shot. Karl Malone will get the rebound. He could be this year's player of the year in the NBA. The Jazz lead 29-23. The mailman has been on fire. Jazz lead most of the game. Kareem Olajuwon blocks Bailey's shot. Sleepy Floyd to Buck Johnson, no good. Hakeem with the rebound. Houston trails 63-60. Shot of the game, or is it? Derek Chivas with the pass. No, actually turned out to be a 3-point play as Houston goes on to beat Utah 106-99. Olajuwon led all scorers with 35. And as we go to break, here's a list of those in the NBA who apparently believe it is far better to give than to receive. The assist leaders in the NBA during the early going. More hockey news now. A couple of ice-cold teams going in. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Pittsburgh Penguins, both losers of 3 straight. They met up on Thursday night, appropriately, at a place called the Igloo, the Pittsburgh Civic Arena. Let's go there now. Early in the first period, the big surprise in the NHL, Rob Brown, Paul Coffey feeding Brown at the doorstep. Ken Reggett is beaten and it's 1-0 Penguins. Brown shows some nice playmaking ability as well. Stick handling toward the net, finding Phil Bourque in front, and it squibs through. It's 2-1 Penguins. Brown had the prettiest goal of the game of the night as well. Brown breaking in alone, beating Ken Reggett with the backhander. Best kept secret in hockey, Rob Brown, 15 goals, 34 points on the season. Pittsburgh wins it by a score of 5-1. Mario Lemieux, coming back from the sprained arm, played sparingly. Blues and North Stars skate to a 5-5 tie. Blues score 2 in the third to gain the tie. North Stars remain winless on the road this season. Their record now is 2-11-2. It is worst in the NHL. Caps beat the Nordiques 4-1. Caps outshot Quebec 44-19. Dale Hunter a goal and 2 assists to lead the Caps. Now the question is, has the National Hockey League degenerated into some kind of hybrid of the roller derby? More and more fighting, more and more stick-to-itiveness. Sticks and groans are breaking bones in the NHL. And the NHL, according to some these days, stands for the Neanderthal Hockey League. We offer the following as evidence.
Fans roar as Shaw hit Lemieux, who shoots, save Van Beesbrook. Debelois has the rebound, and Lemieux goes after Shaw, who whacked him with a stick.
Yes,
oh, that's awful. What seems to be happening to hockey? A sport that embodies speed, skill, agility, and strength has at times reduced itself to outlandish thuggery. This was the year the NHL toughened the rules. It specifically says that any major stick foul shall result in a game misconduct. The second major stick foul results in a game suspension, and subsequent stick fouls increase the suspension 1 game per foul. Incidents of major stick fouls to date indicate the NHL's willingness to penalize and suspend. But can anyone give a cause why players elect to inflict retaliation with their sticks? One reason may be traced back to junior and collegiate hockey, where players are protected by both face masks and helmets. The possibility of head injuries are reduced and therefore ignored. Could it be that teams see each other too much? Adding pre-regular and possible postseason matchups, teams such as the Rangers and the Flyers could line up across from each other 16 times in one season. Yes, familiarity can breed contempt and fisticuffs. Can one specific reason illustrate why professional hockey has fallen victim to such violent acts?
The thing that kind of irks me at times, and I get a little frustrated about it, is the interference and that stuff, which leads to a little frustration. And if you have no room out there and the guy's really holding you, you're trying to get away, you're flailing a little bit, like, a la John Tonelli, and, you might get the guy with an elbow or stick or something like that, or you just get frustrated and you slug the guy.
I don't think that any other player around the league wants to be hit by a stick or take a stick to anybody out of total violence. Sometimes it's provoked, sometimes it's unprovoked, sometimes it's an accident. But right now, the league has to handle it in the way they see fit, and right now it's by one person, and that's Brian O'Neill.
We had hoped we wouldn't have to act in the manner we're doing by bringing all these stiff penalties. A game misconduct for a major stick foul is a very serious departure, and we're the only league in hockey that does that.
To date, the National Hockey League has served justice, but has every incident this year been judged competently? Sabres goalie Tom Barrasso used the butt end of his goalie stick against Calgary's Gary Roberts and received a match penalty, which resulted in a mandatory game misconduct. The intent to injure was obviously clear, but Barrasso will not be suspended unless the Flames request a review of the incident. Now, in contrast, the Rangers' David Shaw slashes superstar Mario Lemieux. His case is reviewed, and he's suspended for 12 games. Would the same thing happen if the roles were reversed? Highly unlikely. Can the NHL set down guidelines across the board which govern violent acts?
And every offense is different. It's very difficult to say that he fits into that category, therefore he's going to get 10 games or 12 games and so on. We haven't yet come to that, but it may. I don't know what we're going to solve by doing that.
There comes a time where, maybe you go a little too far, and, I think Lloyd's of London's going to look at us and say, oops, we may not insure these guys, so we have to be aware of that, too.
I know from where I sit that they are supportive of any penalties that are handed down on a severe nature. I think they sometimes wish they were more severe. They're the first ones to be concerned about what's going on in the sticks because it's their careers.
The National Hockey League has to be concerned with so many ugly incidents so early in a season. If things do not improve, a player's career may permanently end prematurely. I'm Tom Mees, ESPN.
Boxing news is next, and as we go to break, we ask the rhetorical question, does the truth hurt? We'll have the rhetorical answer when we come back.
Mr. Smith.
Boxing news now. Frank Bruno, the British heavyweight who is next online for a Mike Tyson title shot, is going to love hearing this story. The fight between Tyson and Bruno was supposed to take place in September, but then again, Tyson got married, and then he went shopping at Dapper Dan's, and he totaled his BMW, and he filed for divorce. Well, they then rescheduled the fight for January 14th. But now Mike Tyson doesn't want to fight in January either. Why? Because he doesn't want to be in training camp over the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays. Time for feasting, not fasting. And the word is Tyson hasn't met a meal he hasn't liked lately. The champ, who fights at about 220 pounds, reportedly weighs something over 250. But if Tyson were to fight George Foreman, he wouldn't have to lose an ounce. It would be like Moby Dick against Orca. The 40-year-old former heavyweight champion, who's knocked out all 13 tomato cans that they put on the shelf for him during his comeback, is hopeful of a Tyson title tussle next year. Says Foreman, quote, My timetable is to get a hold of Mike Tyson before he gets caught and locked up. I got to get a hold of him before the district attorney does. Words of George Foreman. Sometimes the truth hurts. A fellow named Michael Rouse found out the hard way on Thursday night when he met the USBA heavyweight boxing champion, Carl the Truth Williams, in Lake Tahoe. Carl the Truth, in the white trunks, just pummeling this poor guy Rouse against the ropes. This is the first round. And down he goes. Rouse would get up, but he shouldn't have bothered. Let's go to round 3. All right, here's round 3. Now watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right hands in a row, and down goes Mr. Rouse. Williams still in line to fight Tyson, but why should he bother? We will probably never again hear from Michael Rouse. College football now. Eddie Robinson's Grambling Tigers travel to Orangeburg, South Carolina. Thursday night, visiting the South Carolina State Ball Club. Grambling wins it by a score of 45-16. We'll be back to put a wrap on this edition of the Sports Center, including a video tribute to Oral Hershiser in just a minute. Well, the first round of the Nabisco World Champion Golf Tournament's in the books in Pebble Beach, California. And as we take a look at the leaderboard, Curtis Strange with an 8 under par 64 has the lead, a 3-shot lead over Ken Green. Joey Sinlar's in 3rd place by himself, 4 shots back. And then there's a 5-way tie for 4th at 3 under par 69. And so, to the surprise of no one, Oral Hershiser wins the National League Cy Young Award, the 59 consecutive shutout innings, the 23-8 record. He was the pitcher of the year in Major League Baseball. And as we leave you tonight here at Sports Center, Charlie Steiner saying thank you and goodbye. We salute Oral Hershiser. So long, everyone.